Hi, I'm D.Nox. Welcome to my masterclass at BPM College.
My dear friend, one of the best DJs, in my opinion, for many years, delivered every time, and a great dancer, by the way. Christian Wedekind, also known as D.Nox.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
So nice to have you. We have a great weather tonight.
Like always.
So it's good. So let's start. So when did you start to DJ, and if you remember which artist or event like made you like interested in electronic music?
Okay, long story. I was born in the eastern part of Germany. By the time Germany was divided, and we had no way how to buy music in a store. And my father heritaged me a tape recorder in the 70s, from the 70s. So I had to record music on tape from the radio in order to have my own music collection. By doing that, I got a bigger collection, and then when I was a teenager, around 12, 13, I was invited to play at school parties for teenagers with my music collection, music from the 80s. Soon after that, my parents decided to escape from East Germany, and we left everything behind. We lost everything, and we escaped, each one with a bag of clothes, through the forest to the west side of Germany to find a better life. And once we got there was all of a sudden all the kind of stores and things that I couldn't buy before, including vinyls and CDs. And so for me it was a logical consequence to continue what I was doing before, collecting music. And we are talking about the year 89, 90, 91. And that was also when Germany came to, when techno came to Germany. And I had to change school in order to get a better degree, from the 9th to the 10th degrees. So I changed to a higher school, and I met a guy who introduced me to techno music. He told me, listen to this music. He gave me a tape, and I had no idea about it. I heard something in the radio before, but I didn't know they gave it a name. And well, that was when everything changed for me. That was when I was turning 15 to 16 years in 92. And this is also when I started to play techno in the year 92. Since then, I'm doing this. 27 years.
Amazing story. So what was your like first like professional DJ gear?
Of course, I couldn't buy or afford a turntable. Not even, oh no, not, you need two, so I couldn't afford two, not even one. So I had one turntable, which was not a Technics. It was, I don't even remember the brand, but it was nothing to do with the ones that you used to go backwards and forwards.
Like belt drive, not direct.
Belt drive, yeah, I was looking for that name. And I had no change how to mix at home and how to practice. So I really had to practice in the club. I came to the club and I was invited to play the warm-up for a DJ, Kelvin Rotain, who later had a bigger hit in the 90s. And he taught me the basic skills to count to 4, to 16, to 32, that you have a pitch and you need to find a cue to keep the first beat and take it from there. So I was actually forced to learn mixing in the club. Of course, it wasn't so good in the beginning, but I think it also made me learn faster. Later, I got to buy the first turntables. Then later, I don't know how long later, but it took a while until I had 2 turntables and 1 mix at home, maybe 2-3 years later. So my first gear was Technics turntables, yeah.
The best. So tell us about a bit of your musical roots.
Okay, well, my roots, my father used to have a band in the 70s, and I was raised listening rock music from the 70s and 60s. And then because of I was recording music from the radio and playing in school parties, I was also into 80s music, totally into 80s music. Everything from Depeche Mode to Alphaville, Rick Astley, everything that came out of the radio. And these are my roots, basically. I can say it's between rock and 80s. Nothing to do with electronic music, actually.
And in home, like what you listen to, the family or?
At home, I don't listen music at home. Only when I have to prepare for a DJ set. But usually I do this in my hotel room, because at home I don't have the right energy. I don't feel it, you know. It's like when I get home, for me, it's a different space. It's my Monday to Thursday vacation space. I don't want to think about parties and music too much. I listen music when I drive car. My 80s playlist, so I can sing along. Or if someone sends me something new, I don't know. Recently I was listening Patrice Baumer, Global Underground DJ mix, maybe 20 times in a row. I can only recommend. But no, not much music for me during the week.
So tell us about your music selection. What makes you choose a specific track to your set?
I don't know how to explain it in words. It's something that I hear and feel. I can decide within 5 seconds already if I like a track or not. I would first skip through it and then make it by the groove. So if I don't like the groove and the first vibe, then I pass on to the next. Then I have something like a pre-selection, and from that I go deeper into it, and then I start to listen carefully with headphones and see if there are maybe any vocals that I don't like, because I don't really like to play music with some kind of vocals. And yeah, it's more the atmosphere and the energy, because yeah, I have a certain range in my mind of music that I like through all these years. That can be house, deep house, anything, but it needs to talk to me. So it's about that, the feeling in the first moment.
These days you get a lot of promos and a lot of promo systems. Can you tell from like 100 tracks, how many do you choose? Because a lot of the music today is like, I think in every era is like sound quite the same. So yeah.
I need to ask friends like you to send me new music. It's more the thing between friends, colleagues, and maybe 50% or more of the music I play, I buy in Beatport myself. In the promo tools, as you said, it's really hard to find good promos. Let's say there's maybe 130 promos today I saw in my promo income. And I would then choose by the name of the artist. I know this artist, so maybe I give it a try. But if I don't know really, and the label I don't know, so I skip. It's too much to choose from, and I also don't need every week 50 new tracks. If I have 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, new tracks every week, I'm okay. We have 32 gigabytes full of music with us every weekend. And
it's too many. How do you like categorize your music? Like, do you have any tips for like folders, names, tags?
I go and create each time for each gig, not each, but for the important ones, a new playlist. So I have one which now I'm using is called May 2019, and everything that comes in that month goes to that playlist. And that gives me also enough time to get to know this playlist. I have now 1 month that I'm going through every weekend 2-3 times, and then I remember that track works together with that track. It's Yeah, every week is the same new process of trying to remember where you place those tracks, because we used to have covers, and so we played vinyl and we had a cover. It was easier. Now it's all written, so it takes, of course, a time, and usually it's quite paradox. But like if I have a new playlist with 30 new tracks and I go to play and I want to play all these new tracks, I know already the set is not going to be good because you play tracks together that maybe don't work together. So try not to have too many tracks in one playlist and keep the playlist growing and to get to know that track list. That's the only way. And then there's the next month, and then you start again, and then you remember from April the playlist and the one from March. And then you have maybe one where you have all your classics, your special tracks that I play since ever, but which are not always in the same playlist. So, but I think each one finds his own way.
So when you like practice or building a set, you have like a guideline that you start, like a starting point, and then you add like new tracks for different stages at the set? Or is it completely new? Like
it's every time it's different. For example, the one I played here on Thursday, I had no idea how to start and where to go. It's something that I feel in the moment, guys. Really, for me, it's like I become someone else when I go to play there. It's really I also organize by key. I forgot to say this before. So, which is something also very important for me. I use mix and key. After I send my playlist through mix and key, and then I know already, okay, at least I can play A and G together, or D and C. That helps me too. And of course I try to remember those tracks, the ones from the months before and the new ones, which are maybe the same vibe or the same groove, similar, so I can create. I don't want to be 3 hours in the same vibe. I don't want to be like maybe Guy G does. Yeah? He can be like 3 hours really in the same vibe. I need to be more entertainment also for me. I need to go up and down, and then I need to come to trance, maybe to house, and not from one track to the next, but to keep it like more like a party vibe.
So you talk about parties. What are the ingredients for a good party?
Salt and pepper. Well, last week was a very good example. Yeah, new location, clean, for me probably the best sound I heard in Tel Aviv in one of the gigs I played. Okay, the block is also nice, but that was really clean, warm sound. The table was good, the monitoring was good, so that is already all I need. And then I need to be in peace before, to have my 15 minutes alone, and then go on. And what was the question?
Ingredients to a good party.
The crowd, yeah, of course, the people, yeah, you guys, or everyone that comes and shows up, because without the people on the floor, I wouldn't know what to do. And then once I get into it and connect, I like to be close to play. I like to maybe even touch the people and see everyone's eyes. But then once we become one, then it can go and everything can happen. Yeah.
You prefer small venues or like huge festivals?
No, smaller, definitely.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah, as I said, I like to be close. I need to see everyone's eyes, even talk to the people, maybe even grab a cigarette and go around, have a drink with the people. So on those festivals you play, and then you have 3 meters of security space, and then the people somewhere. It's maybe nice to see 20,000 people, but it doesn't give you much. I like to be like, no, this is...
When Derek May was here in BPM, he told me that he's looking in the crowd for the person who is like the happiest person in the crowd, and he just play for this guy. So what's your tip? Because sometimes you have like a person in the phone, or like a guy who didn't have a great day, and you take it for yourself. So How do you?
Yeah, can be. I also like to connect to more than one guy. I have there's one here, one there, so maybe like 5 guys, 3 girls and 2 boys. No, but he is right. It helps a lot when you have someone that gives you good vibes. There's also always someone who is in a bad mood that shows you the finger or whatever and asks you to play stronger, faster, or happens. I try to ignore because it can really affect me. Yeah, it's true. I had that. So really change your energy. You play and then you see the guy like this, and my God, all night long he's like this. And it's like, well, go home, please.
I think you are one of the, it's well known that you like dance a lot, do a lot of performance. You're an amazing dancer, by the way. Do you think it's like really important for a DJ to feel the music, to dance, to react to the music?
I don't know. For me, it happens automatically. If you see me playing, then you also notice that the first half an hour I'm more quiet. But with more confident, I open up myself, and then I start also to become more funny, to dance. Yeah, I don't know. I guess for the people, it's nice to see the DJ become part of the dance floor. There's so many that just look down and hide. But also the good ones do that, so I don't really know if there's a recipe. What do you think?
I think it's important because the crowd loves to feel the energy. I also don't like the quiet DJs.
But like John Dickwicz, for example, he doesn't see the crowd even. So, but he's super well respected and everyone loves him too. But he lets his music speak, which is some art too, I guess.
When I saw Timo Mas the first time, he was in the Oman 17 in Tel Aviv, and he had a sour face and like playing like. So I think in that time, I really understand that it's super important. Like
no. Of course, we do this to give the people a good time. Yeah.
So, what was the strangest thing that happens to you at the DJ booth? Like crazy story.
I had a couple, but something crazy. There's some stories with police that I was not arrested, but at least blamed to stop the music. But I remember now one crazy thing. I was playing a back-to-back with a DJ from Sweden on a festival in Germany, DJ Mark. That was a long time ago. And we were playing back-to-back, and he had to go for Lou. And I told him, because it was in the field, really countryside of Germany, so he left. And he didn't come back for a while, so I was playing, and then after a while he showed up and he was all wet. So he stepped aside and he fell into a river. But not a river, it was like that kind of creek where all the cow piss goes inside, you know, like really. But other crazy stories.
So you continue the back-to-back afterwards?
No, he was gone, but I don't know. If I open up the book now of stories, we would sit here probably until tomorrow.
Amazing. So indoor or outdoor, what is your favorite?
Both.
Both? Do you have like something with, outdoor, you don't have the echo, the reverberation from the walls? Do you play different music for outdoor?
Yeah, probably, yes. Depends also the playing time, day or night. Each set is different. Everywhere I go, every time, it's nothing to do with the one before. So for me, it depends on the energy of the place.
And the weather, do you think in like more sunny countries, people are happier, or the music is more happier, or the energy?
Well, you guys are amazing here, energy-wise, and you have a sunny country. I've never been to Lebanon, but everyone says they are also quite going forward. But then we have all the other countries from Israel downwards to Africa, South Africa, and there's nothing. So I don't know. In Brazil, where I live, there's many parties, but the sound is different there. It's much more commercial, much more house, and nothing to do with the vibe you have. So I don't know. It's more a culture thing, I think.
So let's talk about Israel. You're coming back a lot to play here.
Yeah.
The crowd loves you. What's so special about this place, like that makes you come back every year?
Yeah, I just said before, it's all of you and my relation that I have with this beautiful country. If you come to a place like me to Israel, I don't know, when was the first time, 2004, 3, 15 years around, you start to feel home. I walk around here, I know more or less around. Besides speaking your language, I think I'm kind of home here. I like the food. I like to meet the people. I like to hang out and to drive around, to discover places, to do sightseeing, and it's all special. Yeah.
In the last decade, there's a lot of like Israeli producers. Not just it was just psytrance, but today it's techno and house. Do you think there's like something special in the Israeli producer, the Israeli sound? Is there such a thing, Israeli sound?
Now there is. There used to be, if you said, in the psytrance in the early 90s. And then it was only psytrance until maybe 5 years ago. Maybe more, but with you and with Guy Mansour, Guy G, and Chikula, and so on. You guys have created a new, we call it new school progressive house outside of Israel. And everyone knows what is about this, but it's something special. It's only exists here, and you can hear not only by seeing you guys in the social medias always together on releasing always on the same label of Guy G. It sounds also very similar. Yeah, there is something. Maybe you all guys have all been to the same school, or I don't know.
We eat the same hummus.
Yeah, me too.
So you're also producing music. How do you like balance between DJ and production?
Me, myself alone, I don't really produce music. I know how it would work, and it works, and sometimes I open my computer and I start something, but as I said, for me, if I'm home, it's a different space. So if I want to produce music, I need to make a date, and then I usually go to produce with Beckers, who now lives far from me because I live in Brazil, and he lives in Germany. And I have a new friend, Khalil, and we're making music, but then I have to go to his place. Again, I get there, and then I leave one space and go into another one, into this creative process. But me alone, I don't produce music.
Today, you've been DJing for a lot of years, but for a newcomer, it's a must to produce your own music, or you can be just a DJ and have an international career?
You know, they told me already in '92, you need to really produce music. And I didn't even understand what they were trying to tell me. I just wanted to play. And I was lucky I could play because we were not so many DJs. In my city, when everything started, I got a job as a resident within a couple of weeks. And then I played every Sunday the same club for 3 years. And there was no need. And then in the mid-90s, I got some money, saved up, and I started to buy a mixing desk, a synthesizer, a sampler, and an Atari computer. And then I started to produce. But still, it took me from there to 2004 when I met Beckers until I released my first record.
What was it?
It was a remix for Air Bureau, We Shine, on my label Sprout. And then we had, all after that was all the history you guys know about D.Nox and Beckers. Yes, I think today a DJ needs to be producer, label owner, social medias, producer of events, maybe have a booking agency, whatever, all of it, yeah.
So why did you decide to open your own label, Sprout?
I did that because I was asked to work as an A&R for a German trance label, Tatsu. And I didn't even know what was an I knew what was an A&R, but I never did that job. So I accepted that job. As an A&R, you are the person on the label that selects demos and decides what music will be released on the label. There was a label boss, there was a woman working on the promotion, and I was the guy who was choosing the music from the artist and prepared the releases. But I didn't like the label too much, and also the sound. And then after years, I got some knowledge of how to make a label, and I started to... I wanted to have my own label, because then people said, you want to be a good DJ and play outside of Germany, you need to produce, but also have a label. So it was already like 3 things I had to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work. Sorry, guys, but that's reality. So we'll have first a few questions from the audience, and then we'll maybe do a quick live demo.
So if you in a position when you have no releases and you did the hard work and you have some tracks and you're sending those DJ promos in the emails
and they don't answer.
Yeah, so what's your tips to getting it?
Did you already send your music to someone?
A lot.
A lot, and nobody answered?
Sometimes they answer, they're just saying that it's not the sound of the label. Some DJs said, okay, maybe I'll play it, but...
Then, well, I don't know your sound now, and maybe we can give it as an example, actually, and then we can demonstrate all of you that process. Maybe it's quite interesting, actually. I think we should make it as a next... I think we will do this. Before you send your music, you need to be sure what you want to achieve, which label you want to be at. So you say, I want to release on Inner Visions, but you send them a Psytrance track, of course. No, you should be always as close as possible to their sound. Some labels, they are more flexible, but other labels are not. So it doesn't make a sense for you to send a 140 BPM track to a chill-out label. So you need to decide. And you also have maybe friends that can tell you, hey, I like your track. Why don't you send your track to that label? You know, because if you produce, you have maybe other producer friends, or you go out and you listen and you can... How does your track sound in the car stereo? Does it sound good, or is the mix still not, you know? So many factors. But
yes, I'll add, sometimes there's a difference, a gap between the label you want to be signed in and what your music sounds like and fits. Because it can be like a huge label that now everyone is talking about, like Inner Vision or Dynamic, but your music is more like deeper or more like uplifting. So you really want to be in that group, but your music sounds like something else. So try to see where your music really fits and not just the places you want to be to get signed on.
Thank you so much.
Well, I was just wondering, it seems like, you know, a DJ that plays a lot as you are have to maintain his hearing and use ear muffs for that and all sort of stuff. But from my experience, these kind of means usually like disconnect you from the crowd, and it seems like it's very important to you to be hooked up. I was wondering, how do you do that?
You mean wearing ear protections?
Yeah.
I don't do that. I tried, and it is really, as you said, it makes me feel like I'm far away from the whole thing. And I see, sometimes I do a back-to-back with DJs that use, and they just raise the volume of the headphones. So every time I take the headphone from that person, it's like
yeah.
So I try to always stay on 12 o'clock on the volume and not to be too crazy loud. Sometimes you cannot avoid. I try to show up only maybe half an hour before and to leave right after playing and not to stay. I used to do that too many years. I stood in the party dancing and, you know, party, after party, next party. I did that too, and I could feel, and I lost already. My last hearing check was not very positive. but it's gone, and now I find a way of kind of balance it.
Thank you. So you do this so many years. How do you keep it fresh for yourself, like to have the energy, the fire?
The only thing that keeps me there is that moment when everything becomes perfect, when I can play the way I would love to play, the way I would love to mix here, and then see the people reacting. This is all I need. I sometimes sit in the car alone, fly back, people were not dancing, something was wrong. It take it to me. It gives me like, I'm still okay doing this, you know, and like so many years now, maybe I should do something else because of the missing feedback. Sometimes you have a party, there's no people or people not dancing, just looking at you, and I take it so personal. But then on the other side, the opposite is when everything is perfect, and it gives me so much to continue for more and more and more. Yeah.
So, okay, now I have some like power tips for young DJs and not so young DJs. So, a first tip for DJs when someone asks you to play a specific track. You have a good answer?
I don't have it. You mean like when I play and someone comes to show me his phone and says, "Can you play this track?" I don't have it.
You don't have it. Okay, that's a good one. If some DJ before you, it must happen to you a lot, especially with young DJs who want to like show off and playing like super strong, lots of hits before you. What do you do in that case?
Luckily, the promoters I work with, most of them, we know us through many years, and they know already who to put to play before me. Eli, my friend over here, he really takes care of this, and other producers usually do that too. I now had a situation I had to play after DJ Anna. She was playing 132 BPM. And for me, this is... I have no music in that range, so I had to go +8 or something, and I told her to ask her if she could maybe go 130 at least. And why? Is this too fast for you? But I managed. I had 5 hours to play after her, so I made a long intro also, and then I had to build up again. But it doesn't happen too often. And those newcomers... No, I was not too unlucky. I was no big issues.
So maybe a good tip for DJs, how to do a proper warm-up. What's the purpose of like warm-up? Sometimes
the thing
they
is,
don't get it.
Who wants to be a warm-up DJ? Yeah.
It's the most important, I think,
yeah,
spot.
Yeah, it's part of the game. And that is actually another story that I could tell now. I was playing twice the warm-up for Sven Feth, the German techno DJ. And the first time, he really liked it. And then when I finished, he took my arm up and everybody. So I was like, wow. And then they asked me to play again for him. But then the week of the gig, he calls me. No, his manager calls me in to tell me, you don't play faster than 122 BPM or whatever. This time you cannot blast as you did the last time. I said, what are you talking about? You know, he asked me. So I didn't do what he asked. And then they cut me out after 40 minutes. Sven came on stage. This time there was no arm up. There was nothing, just kicked me out of the booth. And so I think, yeah, you're right. Maybe it's part of the game. And a good warm-up. I don't know. Don't play the music of the DJ that plays next to you, his tracks.
Yeah, it also happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot that like young DJs is international, like headliner comes and they play his music just to like a gratitude, like an homage, but they don't get it. So don't do it. Okay. What else? Let's try to do a live demo, maybe a live mix, and you can give us a few like technical tips. So it will be the first time, I think, in your career that you speak in the mic while you're DJing.
Like a wedding DJ. So I don't know. That would be something. I need to know what you would like to see. I mean, is there something specific? Just a standard mix? How do I choose the first track? How do I change the BPM? I don't know. All of it. Oh my God. So look, I have a folder here. It's called Intro Tracks. Let's see. You see. So as you can see, the mixed in key gives me the key of 5A or C major. So I could play 5A, 4A or a 6A together to it. So the next track I would choose would be in the same or similar key. Yeah, there you see already that I'm with the mixed in key. It keeps the vibe because of the same harmony, and then I let it just go, no? Carry on, carry on. The groove, the pads, the bass, everything should work together. And of course, the display helps a lot. You can see what happens in the track, where the breaks are, and all this information we use to go to the next mix. Sometimes, well, I usually don't mix so early as I did now. I wait for the last 2 minutes usually to come and to not to fuck up the track, because the track I selected deserves to be played. That's why I selected the track. And sometimes if I see the audience doesn't really respond to the track, I try to loop it in some quieter place and try to mix it out and bring in the other one to make it shorter. That was not a nice mix. That is what you do in a wedding, I guess. Yeah, when you want to go from deep to some more tech house, reggae house, I don't know. I believe that tech house is actually the most easy music to mix because it's always a loop, no harmonies, nothing you can do wrong. Just wait for the break and the drop, and yeah. There's a little tip here. I don't know if you can see, but that adapter is taking way too much space and makes me feel uncomfortable here with my mixing position because I'm always around, you see? It always gets close to my hand. So for me, it would be in a 4-hour set maybe. So I have the one that, I don't even know the English name for it, that goes, yeah. More wedding music. The most important part is to mix first, and that is the hardest step to learn. I don't know if, I guess most of you know, or?
So a good question.
Yeah.
On that matter, a lot of producers don't know how to DJ, so they produce, they spend all the time in the studio, and then they want to play the music, and they don't know how to use the gear. So, do you think you need to like learn them both, or to focus first of all in DJing or producing?
Well, I don't know. As I said, I'm a DJ. I don't see myself as a producer. And I was always focused on that. It's almost 30 years I'm doing this. We used to say, or no, actually others used to say that good DJs are bad producers and good producers are bad DJs. There's very few good producers that are really, really DJs that you can see when they come. They are born to be a DJ also. But maybe a good producer could be have a good live show. Something like Stefan Botzin as an example. Stefan Botzin decided not to DJ anymore because of, no? And I think you do that.
Because I was a DJ for many years, but to be a DJ you need all the time to listen to new music and to update, and that was the like the downside for me. So I decided just to play my music. Yeah.
Who wants to be a good DJ needs to spend a lot of time finding music, selecting music. It's the most important. We spent days in record stores before, and after we spent days burning CDs. And now we spend days in Beatport and listening MP3s and selecting this. But without that, you need to have your own music selection that you take to the party, and that selection needs to give you the space to play from wedding house music to whatever, depends on the place. The DJ that plays before you, or yeah.
Young DJs don't have like the promos and a lot of big producer friends to send them music, unreleased music. So what's the tip? Because a lot of young DJs just go to Beatport, take the 100, top 100, top 10 in their genre. How do you make your own sound as a DJ?
Maybe the way you play the tracks, the way you perform. I don't know. Maybe you should listen to top 200 and also, and spend that extra hour and find those extra 5 tracks. But also, I have to say that people on the dance floor don't really expect you to play 3 hours unreleased music. Nobody really does that. People actually want to go out. They want to have a good time, and they're also happy to hear a track that they know already, that gives them something. Because I can see, as I said before, many people come and show me, hey, can you play this music? And you say, well, it's already 20 years old. But there's always the right balance of new music, classics, and maybe if you have a friend that can give you some unreleased music or your own tracks, of course, could help.
Every time there's like a new hype on a different genre. Now it's like techno. Everyone want to be Nina Kravitz. I don't know why, but what's the best tip for DJs, not to be like the next genre DJs. Yeah, like don't believe the hype, but they want to work, and then the crowd wants to hear now the specific genre. So
first of all, techno has been there since the beginning of techno. I call it techno because for me it always has been techno. Here it was a bit different with the psytrance. And then you have to also see there's a difference. The female DJs right now have their moment. It's not techno. Nina Kravitz, Armin Lenz, Charlotte DeWitt, and all those girls, they live their moment, and they have that maybe for a couple of years, and then who knows if they continue that big or if things calm down. But I play the music I like, my personal taste, and I would not play different music just because now the hype is to play the techno that Nina Kravitz plays. I personally don't even like what she plays, and I don't think she's a good DJ. So, no, you guys play what you like, because this is the only thing you can sell. When you get booked to a party and you play the music you like, you can much better transpond and sell. That's an energy thing. I mean, you need to sell in something that you believe. What's the point of you play in a party and have to play drum and bass just because the people want to listen to drum and bass? This doesn't work.
On the production side, there's a difference, like big difference between tracks and sounds. So sounds really good at the studio and really bad at the club. So what works better in clubs? Because as a young DJ, you can't even check it in a real big sound system. So.
Also to me, it happens that I sometimes want to hear a new track that we just made maybe the past week, and we didn't have time to master it. And yeah, okay, then it doesn't sound as good as the tracks before or after. But also there's a way of covering up. You make it a bit louder and equalize more highs or more mids. But yeah, usually I avoid to play those tracks which are not mastered. But no tip, no.
More minimal sound, if there's too much information in the track, maybe too much channels or information of sound.
You mean the mix of the music?
Yeah. In the production.
If there's one thing I'm really bad in is being an engineer, mixing tracks. Yes, that's what we always say in the studio. It's better to have less than more. And instead of adding more loops and more hi-hats, maybe just take it out and keep it cleaner. Yeah, the sound always gets better, definitely. You have to equalize the basses, everything that is over the kick and over the bass line shouldn't have bass. And there's some basic rules. But I'm probably the wrong guy here to speak about mixing a track.
How many DJs in the crowd? Oh. Most of you are producers or DJs? A lot of producers, a lot of fans, dancers. Okay. So anyone have more questions?
He has one.
You can ask in Hebrew and I'll translate if it's a problem. Okay. Go from the back and just the mic.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan.
I wanted to ask you, because you're very distinctly melodic in your tracks with Beckers and also in your sets, and more than mixing in key using the app. How do you jump between scales, between modes? How do you think about melody at large? How do you combine them together? It's much more complicated than mixing something that is loop small looped and noise-based and drone-based.
You're talking about DJing, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, you're right. I don't always stick 100% to the mixing key. It gets too boring too, and sometimes you're always in the same key, and you want to go from 6 to 1 or from. So, yeah, no. If there's too much melody, this is when I use the mixing key thing, because I don't want to. I understood that it's really important, the harmonies. Many years I didn't thought about, but then I saw how my mixing became much better. But if I want to change, I play more like a cleaner track, which has less information of keys, maybe more like groove or kick drum and hi-hat in the beginning, and then I keep it to that and take it to the other level. I wouldn't fuck around with the harmonies and the melodies. Let it play to the end, and then you mix in, and because if the kick drum is a different key, the people on the dance floor don't really realize that. It's more the melody thing, as you said, yeah. Oh, that. I know you.
Yeah, I know you too. I always wanted to ask, but we never had this conversation. What do you think, what your position about the DJs that mix politics with music and actually boycott Israel and not coming to perform here?
I didn't know there are.
Yeah, there is many of them.
Okay.
And I always was thinking, if we should mix politics with music?
No.
No,
because I think what we do, or it's what I saw also many times, especially in a region like here, where you actually have many problems with political situation, that we can bring so much fun and peace in a special, at least in a moment of 5, 6, 7 hours. I had that when the war in Yugoslavia finished in Croatia. I was booked to play in Croatia. They just had a ugly war, and we played, and people were happy. I have this when I go to Mexico and to many countries in the world where people suffer crisis because of boring politicians. They never make up their decisions. So we at least make it for that moment. Our decision is to have fun and enjoy. But I have to say, sometimes I think about not going to play in the United States, because sometimes I'm not really sure with what they do, but it's a bit too silly. It's more like a thing in me. But I would never make a political situation become a decision for me.
You said that you need to be now a DJ, a booking agent, label manager, and media PR guy. So how do you make all this like Facebook, Instagram, like fun? It's a must today. So when do you have time for that, and how do you make it as part of your, like, is it part of the job?
I don't really like it too. Yes, it takes a lot of time of my life, but then on the other side, we are all the time with our phone. So I try to have a routine, midday, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the afternoon, to somehow do once a post a day, at least in Instagram. I can't really bother with Facebook too, because then it gets too much. And I use my wife as someone who helps me there to at least choose some nice photos and tells me this photo yes, this photo no, because then every picture you post should be kind of photoshopped or whatever. And so but it's a must, you're right. And we shouldn't be afraid of using it, and also maybe invest a little bit of money there if you want to promote some release or some event.
You play like many countries every year, and even as a local DJ, a tip like to, I don't know, to balance your life, because it's different time zones. It's not always the food you're regular to eat, your diet. So what's a good tip to keep the balance, like to keep in shape?
For me, it's my wife and my very simple, basic week life of cooking food, going to the supermarket, to have a bit of a routine, which I don't have usually. I cannot speak about going to the gym, because then I'm missing that routine. But many say that it's good to make sport or yoga too. And maybe don't get too often too wasted. because that takes most of your energy and your health, I think, yes. A normal life between the crazy life.
Hey, man.
Hello.
You say when you're DJing on the Nexus with the record box, it's showing you the key and you can mix it all. But what you do when you don't have a record box or a vinyl, how do you play? How do you do your mix with the note?
No. Then it's something, if you don't know the key, and I'm not a guy who can listen the key just by hearing. I'm not a musician. My partner Beckers, he could tell you, this is C major. So if I don't have that help by software, I am on my own, and then I have to do it the way I used to do for the first 15 or 20 years in my life.
How did you do it?
Just hearing, just feel it, yeah. Because then I wouldn't mix two tracks together, which I don't hear together. You know, you put on the needle, and you know already, okay, the groove kind of works together or not. But of course, the mixing now is much more quality with all the tools than it used to be before. And if you don't have a record box for being quantized or stuff like that, then you have to do the mix really the old school way, by hearing and feeling it. Actually, you shouldn't be so dependent on those tools, because what happens if everyone goes back to vinyl? Tomorrow there will not be any more MP3s, imagine. Some new revolution, and we all have to play vinyl again. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's maybe like riding a bicycle, but I haven't done for maybe 10 years. I would maybe take me some time too now, yeah.
No, I think you'll manage it. When you play during the set, you said there's DJs who like just playing the same like atmosphere and vibe, but you play a lot of like different colors and like genres and grooves. What is the exact time that you see the crowd like that you know that you need to change, to transition to a different groove?
I believe that after playing maybe 20 minutes, half an hour in one line, of maybe a bit deepness, like I did now, the first, like the intro and then the first track, you keep it like as an intro for like 20 minutes, a bit warm and in a more darkish style. But then people are already expecting something, like to grow up, and then out of nowhere, after maybe 1 or 2 hours, you play a big hit, a classic. You play New Order that nobody expects. So you create even a more crazy atmosphere on the dance floor. But it depends all again, that moment, the place. You see what kind of people there is. If the party would be in Brazil, I knew I would have to play much more commercial than I could do here, for example, yeah. So it's experience and a feeling. And you know, you own yourself. Remember when you used to go to the dance floor, to festivals, to parties, and I stood on Fusion Festival in Germany, 2 days dancing, eyes closed. And I was always like, when the DJ was playing good, I was there like, and I felt it, and I was like, wow, what is this track? And what is it? Wow, it became better and better and better. Then all of a sudden he was playing something that you never expected. And that surprise is actually what brought me to this music, because the sound, every time it was so new and everything was so surprising. You never knew what was going to happen next. And this is why I like to change within my set, sometimes the sound, and I go for progressive to maybe to play some Afro house hits now, because now we all like Afro house, and then play some bootleg of some Depeche Mode song, and then go back to serious.
And one last tip for young DJs.
Never give up. It's really hard. It was hard 27 years ago, and it's maybe even harder now because there are so many more. But in the end, I had to eat dirt, I had to work in construction, I had to do just to maintain and to be able to where I am now, to pay my bills and to buy music and vinyls. Any business you run, I believe, you go through good and bad times. And if you open a new restaurant, maybe it takes some months. If you don't pass those months and you close again, you will never know. So you have to stay there and go the way. Nobody will have a career within 3 years. What happens now with some DJ women that we see that all of a sudden get $15,000 fees because they are daughters of someone that does Tomorrowland Festival or whatever. This is not the case. This is very few exceptions. We have to really work hard on that every day, and you have to live that and feel it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.